In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I built my wheelie poppin' lifted lawnmower. Now, it was a lot of work that I wasn't expecting to be running into, but in the end, as many issues as we ran into between the wheels, the tires, seized parts, and learning how to weld and fab up my own stuff, I think this project came out pretty cool. So let's get into it and let me show you how I built this lifted Ford lawn tractor.
So from what I understand, all you got to do is unbolt these. And the angle iron I got is going to raise it, the 3 inches or whatever to get more height out of the front. So I'm not even going to bother explaining it. It's going to make a little more sense if I just show you guys.
So basically, this is what I'm shooting for. It's just a massive spacer that raises the axle from the frame. The top 2 bolts are the original bolts, and then the bottom 2 bolts are what's been extended, if that makes sense. So now that you kind of have a decent understanding of how I'm trying to lift this mower, we're going to start digging into it. So you just jack it up, you take the wheels off, you remove the hood, and once you get about that far in, you're kind of able to see if you're able to lift it like the way I'm wanting to. Also, before we get too far into it, we're sitting at about 8.5 inches on stock height, so I'm going to show you at the end how much we actually gained after lifting our mower.
All right, so we ran into a bit of an issue, and we got 2 options. So it turns out mine is the lame front axle. That's what I'm going to call this. I don't know, front axle. That is not easy to lift. So on some of them, they have like a rear bracket, kind of like a plate like this on here. And all you got to do is just drop this axle, line up these bolts, and what that basically does is just like a huge spacer that drops the axle down here and gives it lift in the front. Well, mine doesn't do that.
So here's an example of what you want yours to look like to make it an easy lift. As you can tell, his has a longer frame. My frame's too short, so I'm not going to be able to lift it like the way I want to.
So because mine is not the simple axle that I can just bolt some angle iron to get the 3 inches of lift that I want, what I'm going to end up doing is rigging up something else. And basically what my plan is going to be is to cut it off right here, weld some rebar that's going to give it a few good inches of lift. And what that's going to do is, instead of this sitting where it's at now, it's going to sit down here, which in return is going to lift our front end. That's like the easiest way I can do what I want to do. It'll make more sense when I get into it.
So I went ahead and cut these 2 pieces off, and I'm going to show you what these were for. So originally these were sitting right here, and once we extend them, they're going to be sitting about right here. We're going to add a few inches of lift to it, and that's going to give us our height. What I ended up using are these concrete stakes, perfect width, and they actually matched up pretty well, and I cut them each at 6 inches. This is basically what it's going to look like when I get it fabbed up. I'm going to tack everything together to kind of show you guys what I'm actually talking about. It's going to make more sense the further we get into it.
All right, so this is basically, ooh, that's still hot. That's basically what we're going for. Don't make fun of my welds. Our next step is going to be tacking it up to where it used to be. And then that's going to kind of sit it. I wish it wasn't super hot. But imagine that piece is on there. It's going to sit it down here versus up here where it was at. Alrighty, so we got this bad boy tacked up. Got a decent sized gap to fill. So there's one side. Actually eyeballed it. That one came out pretty straight. Then you go over to this one. Yeah, definitely cockeyed, so this one, I'll actually have to, well, I already broke it off, but I'll have to be here because it's more out like that. But I think that's the only thing I'm going to be kind of fighting since I'm doing this myself. But that's what we're going for. So we're going to go ahead, get these tacked up and welded.
And then we'll move on to putting the wheels and tires on. But I feel bad because I didn't know that after I finished welding these that they would end up breaking off in this next clip. So I ended up welding this 2 different times after this.
Alrighty, well, I re-welded it, laid down some pretty nice dimes, both sides, and I'm hoping that it won't break off again. But we're going to give it the old hammer test. Alright, well, looks good to me. And I guess from there, our plan is tomorrow to go pick up some wheels for this. I'm gonna mount them, make sure nothing breaks, and then we'll put the head and everything back on. This is taking a bit more time than what I thought, partially because I am a horrible welder. So I picked up these bad boys from a buddy off Snapchat. Shout out to Skylar. These have just some dry rot, whatever. They hold air. That's all I care about. It's just going on a mud mower to put around. But basically, our plan for this is we are going to be welding this rim to that, which is going to give it a lot of stance. And basically, this is just going to be a massive spacer. And the reason that we do that is because this is going to be our bolt hole that slides into our, let's call it axle shaft, whatever slides into that. So that's our bolt pattern. And this obviously has a massive hole in the center. So our axle shaft will fit inside of this while being able to mount this bigger wheel and tire.
And little did I know, this is where some of my problems would start. So these are super old tires sitting on these rims, and they were so seized on there, the only way to get them off were to cut them off. And then the next thing you know, when I get to the rears, I can't even get the freaking rear wheels off. They're so seized on there. I tried heat, PB blaster, freaking you name it. They were just stuck on there. So I ended up having to freaking cut them off with the tires and wheels still mounted on the rear axle.
But yep, that's going to be our next plan of attack. Dude, she is steaming. We got it nice and high and it still won't come off. That is crazy. So fast forward 2 weeks, I am now feeling better. I came down with a very bad sickness. I had 102, 101. It was just miserable. But to get straight to it, what we ended up doing is rewelding this. I don't know who put this on, but someone didn't get it like at a good 45. So that side's cambered, but that's all right. So now that we've got those two rewelded and mounted on, we are working on the back where I'm gonna have to cut this wheel because 2 weeks ago I tried to unmount this. Those are seized on there. They will not come off whatsoever. So I had to cut the tire off with it on there. So what I'm gonna have to do is cut this off so I can weld it to that wheel. And basically, whoever ends up owning this after me is gonna have some fun getting those wheels off, because as much as I love this mower, it's kind of a monstrosity at the moment. It's kind of a Frankenstein, but it's gonna look cool for some videos. All right, so what we got going on right here is because I can't get these wheels off, I have to weld it on while it's here. And because I don't have anyone to help me put this on, I have my two jack stands here to hold this in the center. This right here is propping up the wheel so I can basically get my welder in here and weld it all up. And basically I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. All right, so we have finally finished welding up the rears. They seem to spin pretty decent. They don't really have like a lot of wobble. I think I did good on it. But basically what I'm about to do right now is jack it up, put it underneath its own weight, and see if anything breaks off. Is kind of where we're at. Dude, this is freaking sick. This looks sick. Dude, it's got a good little lean to it. It actually looks sick. Like it gives me like little go-kart vibes or something. It's hard to see in the video, but it's leaning and it actually looks kind of sick, not gonna lie. And now it's just time to move that car, back this out, and kind of test drive it. I'm really not too what's it called, confident in that. But if it breaks off, it's easier because now I won't have to grab a hammer and beat the crap out of it off. I end up getting the hood back on so to give us more of an idea. But dude, like, videos don't do this thing justice. It is actually pretty huge. Honestly, it is so freaking sick. So worth the time and the way. Oh my gosh, dude, this thing's so freaking awesome. Dude, I'm telling you, videos don't do this thing justice. It is so freaking sweet. Oh, I also did fix the camber. The more that I looked at it, the more I'm like, I know that if I put it together and get out of this garage, I'm not going to want to fix it. So I just cut a notch here and then bent this back out. So then there was like a little wedge gap, and then I just welded in that gap. So now we got a straight wheel. Doesn't look cambered and like crap. But the biggest thing is just seeing it's holding itself underneath its own weight, but is it gonna hold my butt on it? Like that's the biggest question. So I guess without further ado, it's time to test it out and see how she goes. All right, we're on the mower and it's holding my weight. Make sure it's in neutral. Start. Oh, come on now.
Well, we put it on the charger. We're gonna charge it for a second because my luck, I'm gonna end up burning up this freaking starter and then I won't even be able to test drive this freaking thing. So we're gonna let it sit for a few minutes to make sure she's ready to go because I haven't started this thing in a few weeks. Freaking awesome. By far one of the coolest things freaking ever. I see why people build these things all the time. I would have got this done just a lot sooner, but I had the wrong welding wire. It just took so much more time than I had expected. But here is my 400EX next to and my lawnmower actually sits a little bit higher than the four-wheeler. So that kind of gives you an idea. Get your typical lawn tractor, whatever. They're gonna be very small, but after getting the lift on it and putting it next to a four-wheeler for comparison, it kind of shows how big this thing actually is. Very quick edit. I just want to show you guys we were at 8 1/4, and after our lift in the front, we're at 15.5 inches. So that's like 7 inches of lift in the front. But yeah, there's your size comparison to give you an idea on the height. Now, the next thing that we're gonna be doing on this mower is cleaning it up. We got this to repair. Probably just gonna put that up there, weld that, reinforce this. This thing's literally about to just fall off. Do something with this seat, fix this side too. It's not as bad. So if you guys know anything or why I for some reason don't have brakes, yeah, just let me know. I have no idea what I'm looking at when it comes to these mowers. Hell, we might end up actually going and buying another mower because this one's actually been pretty fun. And now that I have a better understanding of it, the next one will be better. And the one after that will be even better. And as time goes on, these things will get even cooler, more elaborate, and even better. But yeah, if you guys haven't already, make sure you like, subscribe, share this to your buddies and be like, dude, we got to build a freaking lifted lawnmower. 6 a time, build one, and it looks like a freaking blast. Let's build one. Go on Marketplace, go buy yourself one, make one. These are freaking fun. If you guys want to see more of this, make sure to comment. Now, we're going to go to a little edit, a little montage video to show off our lifted lawnmower that took 3 weeks to build, but it was well worth it. Makes it easier to work on. I guess that's why they put wheelie bars on these things. But hey, now I can yeah, the belt looks good here. All right, this is what I was telling you guys about. I thought this was what's wrong with the brakes, but hey, I can see clearly now. I flipped the mower. Wow, I'm glad I was recording. Oh no! No! Oh no! Did I break the steering wheel? Or oh no, that just flipped forward. The seat flipped forward. Then I broke that off. Man, that is some crazy stuff, dude. Well, I think that's a good ending to the video. We're gonna flip it back over and call it a day. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew as soon as I flipped it over. I knew as soon as I was flipped it over, one of my wheels are gonna break. So until next time, we'll continue this video. Man.